feed. There we go, that's done. And now I can stop the share. Very good. And so everyone, let's welcome Greg Link from Apollo5 and the Watchers 8 Foundation. Thanks for coming along, Greg. And I'm going to have a really fun session. And yeah, I'll hand over to you.
Guys, lovely to be here. Thanks, Neil. Neil and I have worked together quite a few times, actually, performing together. So actually, my last live performance with an audience was with Neil in Avignon in March. So that was the last gig that we had. So yeah, it's really nice to see you, Neil, and thanks so much for getting me in. Yeah, so my name's Greg. I sing bass in a vocal group called Apollo5, and we are linked with Watchers 8. They're our sister group. I've been singing with Apollo5 for about nearly 8 years now, which is crazy. It's like really flying by. But yeah, we sing a real mix of classical and folk and pop and jazz. So a real kind of mixture of rap, which is something that I really enjoy. And we also run a lot of workshops and education projects as well. If anybody was at Andrea and Katie and Paul's workshops, may see some parallels in there too. Out of interest, who was at Katie and Andrea's or Paul's? Great. Okay, it's good to know.
I think Les, you were at Paul's workshop, weren't you?
Yes. Sorry, I was at Paul's. Yeah, I wasn't at Katie's, but
lovely. That's good to know. Great. And it's nice we've got a nice kind of intimate group here as well. I'm interested in what you would like to get out of this workshop. It's called Resonance and exploring kind of confidence and tone. We'll start off with a bit of a warm up, and I've got a few songs I'd love to sing with you guys. But I'm just interested, just from the outset, what do you have anything you specifically want answering or to work on? We'll definitely have a Q&A at the end. Sort of rough plan. Do a bit of a warm up. You can share some ideas, sing a couple of songs together, and then finish with a Q&A. But just off the bat, is there anything you are dying to know more on, or anything you'd like as a thread throughout this workshop? And you don't have to have an answer to this. I'm just intrigued.
Well, how to get the best sound and get the resonance.
Great. Okay. Fine. Excellent. So we'll just work on tone. We'll work on tone quality and ways in which we can use different palettes of colour as well when we're singing. So let's begin with a bit of a warm up. If you've got space, could you stand, please, everyone? We'll get a bit of a warm up going, if you have space. So simply, all I'd like you to do is copy me. Can you all see me? Yes, great. Could you just simply copy me? Zoom. Aha. Nya. Aha. Hello. The faces are amazing. I can't hear you, but the faces are incredible. Thank you, everyone. Great. It's going to be a good session. Okay. Hello. Hey. Hey, you. Hey, you. We're going to stretch up, if you can. We're going to stretch up and to the sides and down. We're just going to roll this shoulder. For me, I think that resonance starts by having a loose body, nice and relaxed. We don't want any tension at all. We're going to take this hand, give ourselves a bit of a shoulder and a neck massage, especially important in these times. Just getting rid of some tension from a lot of computer time, definitely. So paying attention to our neck and our shoulders in particular. I definitely have a case of Zoom neck, which is a bit like this. So we're just going to give ourselves a bit of a massage, really get in there. and just our faces too, nice and malleable. Excellent. You look great. Excellent. And our faces, and just give ourselves a bit of a shake out. Okay, lovely. And simply copy me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 4. 1, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Right around our range, we're going to go from the bottom of our range right to the top again and back down again. It sounds a bit like this. A nice clean, blend there as well when you're going up the register. Really get into each nook and cranny. Let's go from the bottom to the top and back down again in your own time. Here we go. Nice. This time we're going to go from the top to the bottom and back down again, keeping it nice and light. And the idea is we don't necessarily want the sound to sound high and to sound low. We're keeping it all on a level playing field. So you're keeping the height in the sound even when you go down to the bottom of the range. So kind of like counterintuitive, but in terms of resonance for me as a bass, if I'm getting to my lowest notes, I'm really thinking of the ping in the sound and the height in the sound to really come through this way rather than it being weighty. Let's go from the top to the bottom, back to the top again on a as well. Here we go. And lovely. This time we're going to do a few tongue twisters just to get our mouth around some text. Can you copy me? Can you say, Betty bought a bit of butter, but she says this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, that would make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter, better than the bitter butter, that would make my batter better. Very good. Next one. I wish to wash my Irish wristwatch. Great. I wish to wash my Irish wristwatch. Now, of course, these all have tools in terms of consonants, but practicing these at different speech pitches was also really helpful, just to kind of wake up the voice, particularly early in the morning as well. Next up, let's have red leather, yellow leather, lavender leather. Red leather, yellow leather, lavender leather. Your turn. Red leather, yellow leather, lavender leather. And again. Red leather, yellow leather, lavender leather. One more time. Red leather, yellow leather, lavender leather. I find keeping those rhythms in there as well also helpful, just to keep it all moving along. Next up, can you copy me? I'm going to take this hand. Do this. We have a thumbs up on this hand. We're going to take the other hand and make it into a point. The idea for this, a simple brain game. We're going to switch these around so it looks like this. Trickier than it looks, particularly when you don't have the thumb down on the pointy finger. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3, and switch. 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 Never have I seen more concentrated faces. Excellent. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, etc. I'm sure many of you know this, but I think it's a brilliant warm-up for lots of different things. Rhythm, for intonation in particular, and also just for waking up that nice octave range. So let's start here. Ready and off we go. 1, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make sense? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Make sense? Excellent. Good. Next up, level up here. I said about intonation here. Can we now take out the number 3 and put a clap in its place? So the idea now is that you want the interval between 2 and 4 to be really clean. So it goes like this: 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, etc. Make sense? Excellent. Here we go. And off we go. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 5, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1. Very good, very good. Excellent. A tricky one there, and one in which you can take out lots of different numbers too. If you want an extra challenge, taking out consecutive numbers is also a useful tool as well. So you could take out 3 and 4, and it could go 1, 2. Wow, I can't do that at all. So that's a challenge for next time for me. Excellent. So consecutive numbers is a big challenge for everyone, especially me. Okay, so taking out different numbers there just really helps with the intervals and the intonation there. Nice and clean. Good. Let's just finish with a little shakeout and a simple song. It's a bit of a warm-up song here. This song is called Senwa Dedende. Can you say for me, Senwa Dedende? It's a simple round from Ghana. It sounds like this. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Senwa Dedende, Senwa Dedende, Senwa Dedende, Senwa. 4 simple phrases. I'll sing the first one. It goes like this. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Your turn. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Your turn. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. So that's phrase twice repeated. The next one. Senwa Dedende, Senwa Dedende. Off we go. Senwa Dedende, Senwa Dedende. And then finishing. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Your turn. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. 2 bits. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Here we go. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Senwa Dedende, Senwa Dedende, Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Here we go. Senwa Dedende, Senwa Dedende, Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Let's see if we can sing the whole thing now from Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Here we go. I'll sing with you. Ready and off we go. Senwa Dedende, Senwa. Senwa dedende senwa. Senwa dedende senwa dedende senwa dedende senwa. One more time. Senwa dedende senwa. Senwa dedende senwa. Senwa dedende senwa dedende senwa dedende senwa. Lovely. Seeing lots of good cavernous kind of nice open jaw stuff going on there, which is great to see. Very nice indeed. This time, can you sing the round? I'll sing the part one, and then if you guys at home can sing the same melody but just starting at a different point. So I'll go senwa dedende senwa dedende senwa. So I'll start first, and then you guys come in after me. Make sense? Okay, here we go. Senwa dedende senwa. Senwa dedende senwa. Senwa dedende senwa dedende senwa dedende senwa. I'm sure that was delightful, lovely. It's such a shame that I can't hear you, but I'm sure that was lovely. Great, so a bit of a quick warm up there, but just some ideas that I find really useful, even with shorter warm ups. Keeping tongue twisters nice and short, just waking up my face, waking up those consonants. We used our and our these ideas of just getting these intercostal muscles nice and engaged. I find that great as a bit of a wake up for our breathing apparatus. Senwa dedende, I just really like. It's a nice tune, but it's a nice scalic thing. Wakes up the upper register for me as well. And then obviously a physical warm up, important too. Just simple stretches and simple kind of face massage, and shoulder massage has been particularly important for me actually during lockdown, during a lot of computer time. So just something to be doing each day, but it's something I find really useful too. So hopefully that's a nice selection of warm-ups that have been useful. Moving on, I thought a first song we could do is a bit of a sea shanty. Okay, and I think with this, it really encourages that resonance and that bright sound because we have the character in the sound. So this song is called South Australia, and it sounds like this. It goes. In South Australia I was born, haul away, heave away, in South Australia round Cape Horn, bound for South Australia. Haul away, you rolling kings, haul away, heave away, haul away, you'll hear me sing, bound for South Australia. And that's it. So the words we have. In South Australia I was born. Haul away, heave away. In South Australia round Cape Horn. Bound for South Australia. Haul away, you rolling kings. Haul away, heave away. Haul away, you'll hear me sing, bound for South Australia. Lovely. And with this, with the melody, if we're thinking about getting this brightness in the sound, I think naturally, just ever so slightly raising the cheekbones a touch, just to get that ping in the sound. And also, just imagery is helpful for me. I'm thinking about a unicorn horn coming out of the top of my head here. So it's got this nice ping to it. It's got this bright sound. Even if we're going lower in our range, we're thinking of this bright tone, this zingy tone. And we did a bit of work on the nya, nya kind of sound in the mask earlier. And we're going to try and channel that in South Australia. Thanks, Vicky. I'm glad you like this song. So the ping goes like this. In South Australia I was born, haul away, heave away. So I'll do the first bit. In South Australia I was born, 1, 2, off we go. In South Australia I was born. Nice. Haul away, heave away. In South Australia round Cape Horn. In South Australia round Cape Horn. Bound for South Australia. Haul away, you rolling kings, haul away, heave away. Haul away, you'll hear me sing, bound for South Australia. Excellent, so the whole thing. In South Australia I was born, haul away, heave away. In South Australia round Cape Horn, bound for South Australia. Haul away, you rolling kings, haul away, heave away. Haul away, you'll hear me sing, bound for South Australia. Let's see if we can sing the whole thing all together. 1, 2, off we go. In South Australia I was born, haul away, heave away. In South Australia round Cape Horn, bound for South Australia. Haul away, you rolling kings, haul away, heave away. Haul away, you'll hear me sing, bound for South Australia. Nice. Might go back to that a little bit later on, but we're thinking there about this character in the sound. And I think when we're talking about resonance, we're talking about tone. For me, it really helps to have this palette of colors imagery. So you have your go-to vocal technique as your main color, but you can also pick and choose other colors from your palette to go with different pieces and different sounds. A lot of what we do in Apollo5 is and with Watches 82, with jazz and pop numbers, a lot of the bass parts for me are very percussive and very double bass or bass guitar heavy. And with that, I'm thinking of a really wide, broad sound. But then with something like some Renaissance polyphony or something like Palestrina or Tallis, I'm thinking about a much more focused sound. So for different styles and different genres, you're thinking about different tones. And it's a nice kind of additional tool to add to the kit, because we're not just thinking about different dynamics, but we're thinking about different tone colors as well. So I might think of doing some pieces might be a bit wider and broader. So it might be like, I could sing in South Australia like this. In South Australia I was born, haul away, heave away with lots of breath. That wasn't a very good example, but that's like maximum example. With a lot of breath in there, quite wide. Or I can make it really, really pronounced. In South Australia I was born, haul away, heave away. And having these different palettes of colours is really useful as a singer, particularly in choirs when you're trying to unify your sound with other members of the team. Said quite a lot there, but I'm intrigued. Has anyone got any questions about anything I've just been talking about? Can we put it into practice? Can we do one version that's quite broad and wide and quite I describe it as being quite owl-like. So you have you have a wide, broad sound, which is contrasting with the duck sound, which is more forward and pronounced. So you have an owl and a duck, and then you can swing between them. So if we do first version as owl, quite wide and broad, just practicing different vocal colours here. Here we go. In South, 1, 2, off we go. In South Australia I was born, haul away, heave away. In South Australia round Cape Horn, bound for South Australia. Haul away, you rolling kings, haul away, heave away. Haul away, you'll hear me sing, bound for South Australia. This time, we'll move the dial, crank the dial from owl up to duck. So we'll have a nice brassy sound for this. In South Australia I was born, 1, 2, off we go. In South Australia I was born, haul away, heave away. In South Australia round Cape Horn, bound for South Australia. Haul away, you rolling kings, haul away, heave away. Haul away, you'll hear me sing, bound for South Australia. And obviously they're quite different sounds, but you can play around with how much or how little of each of those sounds you can use. And certainly when rehearsing in a choir, it can be a really nice additional tool to your toolbox, certainly. Great, so that's a bit of South Australia. Next up, I've got a bit of a number called There's a River. And There's a River, I think we can probably do this in 2 parts, actually. So There's a River sounds like this. If I just give you an example of the vibe, it sounds like this. That goes like this. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. So a nice soulful number here. So the melody in itself, simple words, there's a river flowing in my heart. So the melody for this goes, there's a river flowing in my heart. Here we go. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. Your turn. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. And it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. Nice. So if I sing the whole thing for you now, just to give you an idea of the context it comes in. So it goes like this. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. Let's see if we can sing this all the way through. This time we're thinking of a tone. I like to think of this tone as being, well, I like to do a couple of different versions with it, but we can definitely try that later on. But for this one, let's have it quite bright and hopeful. There's a river, 1 and 2 and 3. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. Lovely, very nice indeed. Lovely emotive faces, I must say. I can't hear you, but I believe you just visually, which is half the battle. So yeah, great. Lovely. Okay, next up, a bit of a bass line. It doesn't go too low though. Well, having said that, I reckon Arden, I think you'd be good at this bass line. It's got a richness to it. So you can use those baritone vibes for this. Okay, so it goes like this. River in my heart, a river in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. River in my heart. That's the bass line. So, the first bit. River in my heart. Here we go. River in my heart. A river in my heart. A river in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody, and it's telling me I am somebody. River in my heart. Here we go. River in my heart. river in my heart at the end there. Lovely. So as a role in this, basses are always a foundation. So we always like to have a little bit of a louder bass part than parts above it. And it's something, might be something that Katie and Andrea and Paul may have spoken about a bit this week. But we talk about something called the pyramid of sound, where you want the foundation to be coming from the bottom. So a really strong, solid bass part on which other parts can then sit on top of comfortably. So who's it that sings bass? Rob, you sing bass, don't you? Great, thumbs up, excellent. So Rob, as a bass, you're thinking that you're really the foundation of the harmony. So you're bringing up the heat slightly with your volume, just so that everybody else feels more comfortable to sit on top of your harmony. So your tuning and your foundation basically is what grounds the chords. So with this, with the bass line, we want to have really clean intervals in this. So the first bit, let's try and sing the first two parts of this. So it goes like this. River in my heart, a river in my heart, making sure it's a bit of a danger zone. The my heart is nice and in tune. So here we go, those first two bits, here we go. And river in my heart, a river in my heart, Nice. Next bit goes like this. I'll sing the last two bits and then you guys sing it after me. So, and it's telling me I am somebody. River in my heart. Here we go from, and it's telling, 1, 2, go. And it's telling me I am somebody. River in my heart. Lovely. Let's sing the whole bass line all the way through now. From river. Thinking of a nice column of air throughout this. You're thinking of your breathing as a stream of air rather than having individual notes. Think of it as being really smooth and really linear, especially for a piece like this, which is quite hymn-like, as a bit of a sort of gospel spiritual vibe. So we're thinking of it nice and channeled. River in my heart, here we go. River in my heart, a river in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. River in my heart. So there's the bass line there. So we've got the bass line and we've got the melody. Now we'll try and put those together through a bit of sharing of sound. Neil, could I share my sound with you? Is that doable?
Yeah.
Great.
I've made you a co-host, so you should be able to share anything you like.
Oh, fab. That's excellent. Thank you. So, share. Lovely. So with this, we've got a bit of a... Okay. So you should be able to hear this in just a second. Can you hear this? Lovely, great.
Yeah, we can hear that.
So this is a version that Katie and I recorded with all 4 parts, but in this instance, we can just sing along to our preferred part, whether that be the melody or the bass. So for this, essentially, we can start this sort of mini performance with singing the melody to a hum, just to start with, all in unison, one time. There's a 2-bar click in, and then we start with a humming of the melody. After that, you can choose whichever part you like, either the melody or the bass, and that's repeated a number of times until finishing at the end. So you can choose maybe one time you could do the soprano line, the melody, one time you could choose the bass, and singing alongside this track. So here we go. Here is the track.
So we can't hear you, Greg. It's gone.
Fabulous. Does that work now?
It was lovely to watch you, though.
Oh dear me, brilliant. That's always hilarious when that happens. Great, thanks Zoom. Cool, let's try it one more time. That was a dress rehearsal. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
It's kind of cutting out, Greg. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's the volume or something, because sometimes if Zoom's too quiet.
Okay. In that case, we'll go back to something different, and I'll sing the melody line the first time, and you guys can sing the bass line alongside me, and then I'll switch around, so we both get a chance to sing both of the parts. So the first time, how about the first time I'll sing the melody, and then if you guys can sing the bass alongside it, and then I'll switch around, and then I'll sing the bass, and then you guys sing the melody. Okay, makes sense? Okay. Here we go. So, bass line first goes, river in my heart, etc. Here we go. Good luck. So it goes like this. There's a, oh, good point as well. I sing there's a first. So I'll go, there's a, then we have river, all together. Here we go. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. Switch apart. There's a river in my heart. A river in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. River in my heart. How did we do, everyone? How did we do? Not bad. A few nods, a few com-see, com-sat. Would we like to come back to that, or should we do that again? Now we've got the idea. Same again. We've got to repeat from Les here. Okay, repeat it is. So, just to reiterate, bass line first for you guys, and then the melody afterwards. Here we go. River is your starting note. 1, 2, here we go. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. And switch. There's a river in my heart. A river in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. River in my heart.
I've got the first half, but both parts I have no idea what's happening from about halfway.
Fine. I'm glad you've made up your own tune. Great, Arden. Excellent. I mean, if you want to add in some of my improv harmonies, absolutely down for that. Let's go over the second half of each of those bits. Okay. So the second bit of the melody goes like this. And it's telling me I am somebody. Here we go. And it's telling me I am somebody. And then the final phrase, there's a river flowing in my heart. Your turn. There's a river flowing in my heart. So the whole melody, we've got, there's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. You've got the first and final phrases are the same, with those little middle bits slightly more tricky. Neil, how you doing?
Yeah, can we sing it maybe twice more through to really cement it? Because yeah.
Here we go. 1, 2, here we go. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. One more time. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. Better, fab, excellent. Top stuff, guys. Brilliant. Next up, the bass part again, just to go over that one more time. The bass line goes like this. River in my heart, a river in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. River in my heart. Lovely, nice. Okay, I'll do the first bit. River in my heart. Here we go. River in my heart. Next bit. A river in my heart, a river in my heart. So if we glue those two together, it sounds like this. River in my heart, a river in my heart. Let's give that a go. From river, ready, and here we go. River in my heart, a river in my heart. Feel free to add in a click as well if you like. For me, it just really helps with getting that rhythm and getting in the groove a bit more. Next bit. And it's telling me I am somebody. I'll sing it one more time. And it's telling me I am somebody. And it's telling me I am somebody. One more time. And it's telling me I am somebody. And then the final bit. River in my heart. Here we go. River in my heart. And the tricky bit is that middle section, I think. Personally, I think it's that third bit. And it's telling me I am somebody. And then we have river in my heart. Let's see if we can sing the bass line. Let's do it twice again, actually, just to really cement that. And the danger moment, I think for me, I say danger moment, the tricky bit in the middle there is the and it's, because both parts sing and it's, and the melody goes, and it's telling me, and the bass line goes, and it's telling me. So down on the bass part, up on the melody. So back to the bass line. We're singing it twice through with a nice broad, good breath to start as well. Can we try and have some decent posture here as well? It looks pretty good, to be honest. But let's just give ourselves a bit of a stretch as well. We're thinking about the space we have around here for breathing as an important element of this. So, river, here we go. Off we go. River in my heart, a river in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. River in my heart. One more time. River in my heart. A river in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. River in my heart. Both the parts there. Got to say, everyone's looking pretty confident with that, actually, which is great to see. Excellent. So this time, choose your part, whichever one you like, either the melody or the bass. I'll play along the chords, just so you get an idea of the structure of it and how it kind of all fits together. But we'll do it twice. You can either choose to do the same one twice, or we can switch around and do melody once, bass line twice, whatever you like. Really having decent posture and decent breathing at the start to really kickstart with a bang. So here we go. I'll count you in. 1, 2, 3. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. And again. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me I am somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart.
That's hilarious. Perry and Savannah, you're doing exactly what I'm doing and trying to work out what the bass line to the third part is when Greg's singing the tune. I've no idea. I was trying to sing it.
We are gonna get this bass part if it kills us.
We're gonna get it.
What I love though is I just caught your eye as we were doing it, and Perry and Savannah were just going, "It's this. No, it's this. No, it's this." It's like, guys, it's all good. So the bit of the bass line, was it from the and it's telling me? Was it a bit or and it's telling me? Cool. So,
really, it's after the first section. From there, it just
no, it's great. It is tricky bass line, and it's a bit deceiving as well because it is quite similar to the melody in some places. So the second bit, you've got and it's telling me I am somebody. Savannah's telling Perry, I told you so.
Me, and it's telling me. Sorry, I'll unmute myself. You can hear me.
No,
so.
but that's right. That's great. Excellent.
Like the Zoom faux pas, singing if you're not the leader.
I love it. Excellent. So, and it's telling me I am somebody. Then we have river in my heart to finish. So you're right. The main tricky bit is that third bit. The melody, and it's telling me, and the bass line, and it's telling me I am somebody. River in my heart. That's how it all slots together. I think we'll come back to that to finish at the end. There's a bit of a boomer song to finish at the end. Lovely, excellent. So it slots together nicely. Arden, I'm just thinking, thanks very much for the offer of that. I'm just thinking that with Zoom, it can be a bit dicey if two people are trying to sing together at the same time. But thanks for the offer.
I just mean it's easy to follow when you do it, but when I'm on my own, as long as you're singing, I'm okay.
We can do it. We can do it. We'll come back. I'll come back to this at the end as like a little final song to sing together. But I was just interested if you had any questions or anything about singing technique, or it could be about singing in a group, or it could be about whatever you like. Being a musician, where I live, what I'm for my dinner, whatever you like. Any questions? I'd love to hear from you. It can be as weird and wacky as you like as well.
So something that I sometimes struggle a bit with, because I'm definitely more of a mezzo soprano, not really a lower voices choir. I can get down to tenor, but one thing that I kind of struggle with is knowing how to kind of coach people who are a different voice part than me, especially like the lower voice parts, because I know what my setup is and how I need to place to create the sounds I need to do it, but I don't necessarily know if that's different for other voice parts.
That's a really, really good question. I think knowing the ranges of each of the voice parts, so knowing what's kind of comfortable and knowing what's high and what's low per se for each part, I think is important. And I think if you're doing any demonstrating, try and demonstrate in your octave and your range. I think if you're trying to demonstrate at pitch for a tenor line, it's not going to have the same quality that you want. So if it was in a comfortable range for a tenor line, you could sing it in your comfortable range, and maybe talk about using imagery or using these sound quality palettes of sounds as a means of getting your point across. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
What happens if you don't do that? If you do it in the wrong range, what are the pitfalls? Why do people get confused? Do you know? Because I know that happens too, but it's very strange, isn't it?
I think for me, I think the main thing is so workshop wise, we do a lot of workshops and rehearsals and stuff with a real range of ages. So yesterday was working with 30 year one children, so they're all on individual Zoom call things as well. So 36-year-olds, and what you often find with the very, very young children is that if I'm singing at my range, it often makes younger children try and sing too low. But then often that just needs a bit of an explanation about comfortable for me is at this pitch and comfortable for you is at this pitch. I appreciate that's with much younger children, but if you're working with university age, I think if you're singing at a comfortable range for you, then the point could come across better than if you're singing at pitch. I think if you're singing at pitch, say Savannah, you were singing a tenor line, for example, it would sound quite low for you, right? Whereas for tenors, it could be a completely different sound world. Whereas I think if you choose your comfortable octave, that's what's worked for me if I'm working with upper voices too. I think having height and this kind of zingy forward sound, yeah, exactly. Particularly if you're running a choir or you're conducting an ensemble, for me, I always find, in case you haven't realised, I often talk with my hands a lot. Like gesture is key. So I think imagery and gesture, I think, is useful in that context as well.
So it's like changing your tone to represent the voice part you're teaching. Is that a useful tool as well? Is that what you're kind of saying a bit?
Sorry, Neil, say that again.
Like changing your tone, like we were talking about the duck and the owl earlier. So if you're trying to, you're trying to sing a lower line at a higher pitch, and then you kind of change your tone to try and emphasize the pitch. Does that work? Do you do that?
Yeah, it can do. I think certainly for softer singing, if you're having a broader kind of more owl-like tone, that can help convey the pitch. Savannah, do you have difficulty with? Is it a case of your male counterparts? Is it a case of them not being able to pitch from you, or is it a case of just having that octave difference?
I think it's more trying to get across the sort of sounds and tones that we want. So, like, for example, when we were doing the Seven Nation Army Sweet Dreams cross, I was trying to get across how I wanted the basses to come across as like that dum 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 dum, and I think it just wasn't translating very well because they weren't picking it up. But I don't know if it's because I was demonstrating how I would do it, obviously like an octave or so up, or if it was just them not understanding, or what really.
I think in that context, using instrument analogies really helps in that context. So demonstration is obviously one element, but then just being really explicit, being really specific, and being like, guys, your bass part, your bass line, take out the vowel sound for that, so it's more of a dum rather than a dum. So dum 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 dum. So it's a little bit of explanation, but mostly just getting the imagery out there. I think is useful for particularly with that instrumental a cappella sound. You're really trying to imitate an instrument, so having that at the forefront for a bass line definitely I think is useful. And whenever if ever I've worked with youth choirs or with chamber choirs or choruses, that imagery I think is useful to use with large groups of people, because everyone can be on that same page imagery wise, if that makes sense. So you could say something like, oh, can that be really percussive? So it could be with a strong d for the dum 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 dum. Demonstration is definitely key, but for me, imagery, combining those two is useful if you're leading an a cappella squad.
It's quite amazing how just taking the vowel out transforms that. So dum to dum, it's amazing how, same attack on the D, same finish, but just taking the vowel out makes all the difference. It's amazing, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a big one for bass lines, definitely. If you're going dum 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 dum, obviously it's louder, but you won't get that sound quality that you want. And again, it goes into that palette of sound idea. So if you're doing something that's like trumpety, it'll be nice and brassy. So like da 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 da. So you're thinking about the vowels and you're thinking about the placement, nice and forward. But then if you're doing maybe a saxophone part, it might be like so it's more broad and wider. Does that make sense? I'm a little bit waffly, but if that makes sense, that's good. Yeah,
that's something that you guys in Apollo5 do amazingly well, because there's only 5 of you. I've got 8 singers, they can do whatever they like, but with 5 singers, you've got to be really clear on the roles and the kind of the blend, or the kind of difference in the blend. Like when you do your jazz stuff and you've got a solo voice and you've got you on the bass and someone doing percussion and then 2 people doing like the bars and the whoops, to get that sound variety in the tone to make it sound like you want it to sound. That's quite a feat. Do you spend quite a lot of time like working that kind of stuff out?
Yeah, massively. And I think that it's interesting, like the way that you can sing the word ba, for example, massively varies. So you can go ba-da, ba-da, ba, or ba-da, ba-da, ba. They can be like that. They're very different if they're written on the page. So it's your job as musicians to kind of try and lift that. And we often talk about duck or owl or brassy or clarinetty. So you've got that, again, that imagery. So wider woodwind instruments or more direct brass sounds. And we sometimes do bits in Apollo 5 where we'll do 1 bar saxophone and 1 bar trumpet, and we'll try and change it bar in bar, for 1 bar for one thing and 1 bar for another. So we're just changing that tone quality. So one's more breathy and one's more direct, and not necessarily nasal, but definitely more biting with the placement. It's a narrower sound, but it cuts through easier. The imagery thing is not for everyone, but it's definitely something that I find useful and that works with a larger group of people as well, because it's more easy to explain in that way. But yeah, we do a lot of
it
work.
sounds like a shortcut.
Yeah,
Sounds like a shortcut. So you might not be able to get, if you guys spent an hour really honing in on exactly the right sound, but you can get 80% of that information across in 10 seconds by saying more brassy or or wherever. So if Savannah, you were talking about your Seven Nation Army Sweet Dreams mashup. So if you were presented with that, Greg, would you then okay, you're gonna lead this song, would you go through it, and would that kind of imagery be in your mind as you were like scanning the score, like to try and see what variety of vocal textures you could get across with the choir?
And that's exactly that. It's vocal textures as well. And I think as an a cappella group, and in the style that I think your group is, Savannah and Perry, your that instrument element is a big part of it. So you're not just singing vocal lines, you're singing instrumental lines, and using that imagery, going down, saying basses, your a bass guitar at this point, your altos, your saxophone at this point, you're a clarinet at this point, you're an electric guitar at this point. Just having that as a broad way and as a broad shortcut, and really all you're doing specifically is making sure that the vowels are the same and the vowels are as similar as possible. And in terms of tuning, that's a big factor in tuning. If all of your tenors are all on the same vowel kind of sound, so you could do an ooh like ooh or ooh, but they're not going to blend too well together. So it's basically a tool to hone in the vowel sound to make it the same. But you're just using that imagery as a placement tip, if that makes sense. But yeah, we spent loads of time making sure that our vowels are the same on certain vowel shapes, certain sounds, and it changes piece on piece definitely as well.
How would you incorporate that stuff into like warming up, if you wanted to like get that message across, like a warm up? If you're going to do this, we know we're going to have a brassy thing or a bass guitar thing, and I don't know, you're going to use the Senwa de Dende or something, I don't know, or another thing that we did earlier. How would you get that across in a warm up?
So possibly by demonstration. So if I just try something now. So if I just go, guys, can you just copy me? So we're going to go like this. Nya. Nya, nya, nya. Hi, hello. How are you? How are you? Nya. Hi, hello, hello. Senwa de dende senwa. Senwa de dende senwa. So essentially seeing how your choir reacts to that, and then honing back to that in rehearsal, for example, you've brought those sounds forward in a simple speech way, but then you can bring that tone subtly into the sounds you make in your a cappella pieces. So remember that that biting sound we had. The nya one is a great one in terms of getting that sound nice and forward, and you can always take something back, but it's always encourage your singers to do something 120% first time round, and then you can slightly take it back if you need to. But having different tone colors like that is definitely a way that I'd approach it in your a cappella group, Savannah. Yeah, and I'm seeing you do some great hand gestures with that too, and that's what I think that also helps too. Vocal demonstration, but also that nya nya or ha. You've got those differences, and they're kind of extreme examples. You don't necessarily need to do one or the other. You can do a blend of the two, but having that as an example, just getting your singers to experiment is a top tip for me, I think. Just do facial expressions make a difference as well? Yes, God, yeah, definitely, big time. I look like an absolute tool when I'm doing some of my bass lines because my face like rattles. So if I'm doing a bass line, it might be So for that one, a bit more like double bass vibe, and that's quite in my nose for that one, but it could be a bit more pronounced. Dang, 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 dang. Bang, 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 bang. So then you're getting into the specifics of like what kind of bass guitar are you trying to be. So you can really kind of get broad with how specific or how broad you want it to be. With facial expressions, I think it really, really helps. Certainly if you're singing a solo or you're singing, if you're delivering text, but I think it just adds character if you're just doing oohs or ahs or dums. It's just an engaging element of the performance. To just have that kind of sparkle in the eye. And it also helps with things like unity as a group as well. So yeah, facial expression, big one. Just getting the vibe of the piece as a group all together, just having it the same. I think unity is the key for choirs and a cappella groups, whether it be vowels or whether it be emotion. And that can be an instrumental part or a text part too. Everyone's got to be on the same page, basically. Hopefully that was helpful. If you've got any other questions? Neil, go on.
Yeah. I was wondering, because we've got more time at home at the moment, and the session's like about developing resonance. So I wondered whether you could like give us like, you know, like a morning routine or something, like 5 minutes or something. This should take you about 5 minutes that, you know, a singer or one of our singers, or we could suggest to the other choirs they could do that over a period of time, you know, a week, a month, or however long, that if we did this kind of thing 5-10 minutes every day, that would like help develop tone, help develop the kind of like vocal resonance and confidence.
Great. Yeah, so for me, tone always starts with the breath flow. So I think a good way to start is by doing these sounds or sounds, just to getting that cycle going with the breathing, just gliding onto the voice there. Can you just copy me? Can we go? Let's go. And then from there, we start to add in the voice. So it becomes a z. So and an S becomes a z. So you've got and then we can add pitches onto these. Nice and sliding. We can go up. So we're thinking about that slight friction between our lips and our teeth. We're thinking about the breath being really fluid and smooth, and we're really gluing together those notes. So starts here and ends here and back down again, but really you're getting every sinew in between. And switching up your routine, whether you're doing it to a z or a lip trill, so it's all helping that breath and giving that slight boundary between the sound and your voice, so that linear, really, really smooth way of doing it, and starting on a s and a f on unvoiced consonants, really, really helpful. And then you can add in the voice once you've just got the breath moving. So I think for me, I start with a simple stretch, B, s, just getting that breath flow moving, and then adding in the voice to those sounds. So S becomes a Z and F becomes a V. So then going up the scale just to gently wake up the voice. You're just strengthening it.
And so you do that stuff for like 5 or 10 minutes every morning, do you?
Yeah, just to wake up my singing or my speaking voice, just so I don't get too tired throughout the day. I think little and often is key. I think I've been singing every day during lockdown, whether it's for workshops or just generally general maintenance. Little and often, 5-10 minutes a day. It doesn't need to be too much. You can have longer sessions if you like, if you want to. Yeah, just getting into a bit of a morning routine with that. You can do it in the shower. It doesn't even need to be necessarily massively intentional and sort of sitting down and being like, I'm doing singing practice. You can just do it whilst you're making your morning coffee, walking around in the shower kind of thing, just to wake up that voice. And it helps you in the long term as well, just to keep it supple.
Great.
Cool.
Has anyone else got any questions, Les or Rob or Arden? You got any questions for Greg? We could ask about Apollo 5, about recording, touring, about gigs and things. You've had a couple of lockdown gigs, haven't you, Greg, with the Live from London Festival and things like that?
Yeah, so we've been so Voces 8 set up a concert series, a virtual concert series in the summer and at Christmas, and there's going to be 2 new festivals too, one in the spring and also a Christmas one this year too. Really nice platform where essentially Apollo 5, when it was allowed, joined together in our centre, in the centre of London, and recorded these live concerts, and then they were streamed out. Really nice to sing together again. I mean, we used to doing kind of like 3-4 concerts a week, lots of workshops with lots of different people. Really nice to be singing together as a 5 again. So we did a Christmas one a few months ago, and we just recorded actually the spring concert about 2 weeks ago, when it was just about allowed to like walk out your house. But that's coming out in a few weeks' time. Just having these little concerts to look forward to and to learn new rep has been really great. It's
and that, I believe that virtual concert also has an extra special significance for you because of a new release. Is that right?
Hello, thanks Neil. Thanks for the plug. Yeah.
It's all right.
We've got a new album coming out next week.
I was trying to lead you there, Greg, but we got there eventually. Yeah.
We've got a new album coming out next week. The launch concert is also the spring concert, so that comes out I think next week or the week after. It's a nice range of it's called Where All Roses Go, which is a folk piece originally written by an Irish composer called Michael McGlynn, and it's got a lot of folk songs in it, a few Renaissance pieces in. And it's a really nice broad program ranging from kind of 16th century through to modern day commissions. So yeah, that comes out next week, and that's with Apollo 5. I should say Apollo 5 is 2 sopranos, 2 tenors, and a bass. So slightly unusual format. I mean, the way that the parts often work is that we sort of have soprano, alto, tenor, baritone, bass, but naturally 2 sopranos, 2 tenors, and a bass. But Les, if we ever need another tenor, we know who to call. So yeah,
you're welcome. as long as it's high, that's fine.
Love it. But yeah, it's normally we travel a huge amount, so obviously it's been a pretty kind of unusual year. But doing lots of virtual choir things, lots of lockdown workshops, that kind of thing. Released some new tracks over the past few months, and just kind of trying to make the most of this bizarre weird time.
If you haven't gone to listen to Apollo 5, then do it. Their last album, O Radiant Dawn, is really quite something. I had the pleasure when we were doing the gigs and workshops and things I've done with Apollo 5 in the last couple of years, of hearing them sing the title track O Radiant Dawn on numerous occasions. And it's James McMillan, isn't it? O Radiant Dawn, and it's absolute cracker. And the way you guys do it is wonderful. And also, is the this marriage, is that on Irradiant Dawn, or was that on a different album? I can't remember. That Eric Whittaker.
That's on this
Is
new
that?
album.
Oh,
So
fantastic!
it's an absolute amazing piece. It's
Oh,
really
man.
simple, but it's really lovely. This marriage.
That slays me whenever I listen to you guys sing that. When we did it in France, it was just magical. You had we did that thing. There's like 200 French 10-year-olds, and they've come in to hear this random thing with an orchestra, and you guys stand up and sing This Marriage by the Eric Whittaker, and it's just like, this is our, into our hands. It's wonderful, absolutely fantastic.
We're very fortunate to be doing what we're doing, and it's great that we can still do workshops virtually in this context. Of course, it's not in any way the same, but really nice to work with like-minded musicians too. So yeah, it's been really fun.
Fantastic.
This marriage comes out next week, so there's a video that is going with it, I believe. As well.
Is there?
So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Is that going to be released on socials then?
Yes, yeah.
Video. So is that your lead single then, This Marriage?
No, so Where All Roses Go is like the title track of the album.
Okay.
So you find that on YouTube now, actually, because that came out
Okay.
last month. But then This Marriage comes out in a few weeks' time, along with the rest of the album. So it's quite an eclectic mix. And I think generally that's sort of the vibe that Apollo5 goes for. We've got 5 individual singers, but we kind of all into a real range of music. I'm a big musical theatre fan, alongside choral rep and a cappella rep. But then Claire in the group is very into jazz. Ollie's very into jazz too, actually. Josh is really into kind of Jacob Collier sort of vibes, and Penny loves lute songs. So essentially, like the range is there, and we can bring that to the table when we sing together. I think using your groups as like melting pots is a good tip, and people can bring new songs to the table that can be arranged, new ideas. We don't really have we don't particularly have a leader in rehearsals per se. It's a very kind of melting pot vibe. Claire is our artistic director, but in terms of the way that we work, it's quite collaborative. And definitely Perry and Savannah with your group, encouraging that collaboration, I think, can be an exciting thing to try, and getting other people's ideas alongside you.
And is your version of Eleanor Rigby, is that on the new album, or is that not?
It's a good question. Yeah, so it's not, but we have recorded it.
You have.
We recorded that a while ago now, but it's going to be coming out. That'll be coming out in an album probably next year. Some jazz and pop thing.
Apollo5 have the most bonkers arrangement of Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles you have ever heard. It's absolutely extraordinary. And it's by Blake, isn't it? Blake, who's doing the workshop tomorrow from Butcher's 8. He arranged it.
I think it's fairly, I mean, the harmonies are insane. It's also in 7/8 for most of it as well, which is slightly...
It's extraordinary. Yeah.
It took us so long to rehearse that and get that down.
I bet it did.
I think we've got it down now, just about. But I think the range, I always encourage just singing a real range of repertoire, and that really, in Apollo5, that's everything from sort of plain chant through to some crazy version of Eleanor Rigby, which usually you look at the audience after that and they're all a bit like shell shocked, just kind of like, what was that?
What did we just listen to? Yeah.
And then so go on.
No, I was going to just say, Greg, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming along and helping us and running this workshop for us. It's been a real pleasure. Pleasure for me as well to have you along.
It's great to see you virtually. So yeah.
And I believe that we're getting access to the Butcher's 8 Foundation Digital Academy, so I imagine some of your stuff is on there as well. So
excellent. There's a River is also on there. So
nice.
You want to check that out some more, that's also on the Academy. There's new videos being uploaded quite regularly. Actually, it's a very, very new platform, Digital Academy. It came out in sort of late December, so you'll see new content popping up quite frequently. We've basically turned the centre into a bit of a TV broadcasting house, so there's a lot of gear in the centre. So there'll be new things added quite frequently. So yeah, do check out Digital Academy. And if you've got any more questions, you can find Apollo5 or just me personally online. Send me a message. We'd love to hear from you guys. If you've got any other questions, you just want to send me an email or a message, you can just find me online. And yeah, would love to hear from you guys.
Great. Greg, thanks so much. Greg Link, everyone. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you guys.
Thanks. That was a really great evening. Great way to kick off our weekend. And yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, guys. Great insightful questions as well. It's always good to have a good chat about core
Have a good.
vibes.
Nice. So guys, we're just collecting feedback around these sessions, just so that when our management asks us why we spent so much money on fantastic musicians like Greg, and we can say this is because. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, that really helps us, collate a kind of instant reactions. I mean, you could even do that, Greg, if you like,
Yeah,
just let us know how it was for you. We should probably do one for artists, shouldn't we, Viggy, as well? That's probably a good idea. And Vicky's probably already thought about that. Yeah, Greg, everyone, thanks very much. Yeah, and have a good rest of your evening, and maybe see some of you tomorrow during some of the other workshops. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Take
There we
care.
go. All right then.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.